I never thought I'd poison my own mother's coffee. But when she called me a worthless leech at that Thanksgiving table, her voice slicing through the turkey like a dull knife, I realized mercy was for suckers who hadn't buried bodies for her sake. The secret I'd carried for 8 years, the one that turned me from golden girl to jailbird scapegoat, wasn't just a debt, it was a noose she'd tied around my neck while sipping Chardonnay and pretending to grieve. And as the room went silent, forks clattering like guilty confessions, I smiled for the first time in forever. Because tonight, I'd make her choke on every lie she'd fed me since the day she chose her lover over her blood. My name's Annabelle, and if you grew up in the Rust Belt corpse of Youngstown, Ohio, like I did, you'd know that family dinners aren't about love, they're about survival. The kind where you pass the mashed potatoes and pray no one asks about the electric bill. Because Mom's entrepreneurial spirit usually meant another pyramid scheme crashing harder than Dad's old pickup on black ice. It was November 2023. The air thick with that pre-winter chill that seeps into your bones like regret. And our annual Thanksgiving at the sagging Victorian on Elm Street felt like every other one, a powder keg wrapped in aluminum foil. I'd driven 6 hours from my crap apartment in Cleveland, the kind with roaches that paid rent on time, just to sit through this ritual.
Mom.
Evelyn Hargrove, queen of the passive-aggressive casserole, had outdone herself this year. The table groaned under a spread that screamed, "I'm fine. Everything's fine." Overcooked turkey glistening with doubt. Green beans swimming in cream of mushroom soup like they were fleeing execution. And pie from the discount bakery because baking from scratch required effort she reserved for her side hustles. My brother, Tommy, 32 going on 16, slouched across from me, scrolling his phone for crypto tips that never panned out. And there was Uncle Ray, Mom's brother, nursing a Bud Light and pretending his chain smoking hadn't turned his lungs to gravel. We'd barely cracked the wishbones when Mom launched her opener. "Annabelle."
Honey.
"Pass the gravy?"
Oh.
"And while you're at it, tell us about that job of yours. Still slinging lattes to hipsters? Or have you finally figured out how to adult?" Her laugh was a hyena's cackle, sharp and false, the kind that made you wonder if she'd practiced it in the mirror. The room chuckled along, Tommy's snort, Uncle Ray's wheezy guffaw, like it was our family anthem.
But me?
I just stared at my plate, fork spearing a cranberry like it owed me money. 8 years. 8 goddamn years I'd been the punchline. The family failure who couldn't hack it after that little mishap. The mishap. That's what they called it. As if going down for felony embezzlement, 2 years in the women's pen at Marysville, Ohio, was like spilling coffee on your blouse. I'd been 22, fresh out of community college with a bookkeeping certificate and dreams of escaping this dead-end town. Mom worked the front desk at Mahoning Valley Savings and Loan, a relic of a bank where tellers still counted bills by hand. She was good at it, too, charming the old ladies, upselling CDs to the steelworkers who'd lost their pensions. But charm doesn't pay for the gambling debts she racked up at the Mount Airy Casino in Pittsburgh, sneaking off every weekend like it was book club. It started small, borrowing from the till to cover a bad blackjack hand. $50 here, 100 there. I knew because she'd cry on my shoulder after, swearing it was the last time. "Your father's ghost is judging me from heaven."
Annie she soube.
Clutching her rosary like it was a get-out-of-hell-free card. Dad had died 5 years prior. Liver failure from the booze that kept the mill shifts bearable. I was the fixer. Always had been. The one who balanced her checkbook. Who covered Tommy's truancy fines so child services would knock. So when the auditors came sniffing, ledgers not balancing, Discrepancies in the wire transfers, I didn't hesitate. I forged the confession. Signed my name to the thefts. Told the feds it was me, siphoning funds for a boyfriend in Akron who didn't exist. Mom coached me on the details. Make it personal.
Sweetie.
They love a sob story.
Why?
Because she had Tommy to raise.
She said.
He was special, needed her more than I did. And Uncle Ray pulled strings with his cop buddies to shave my sentence. Pleaded it down to time served plus probation. I walked out of Marysville with a record that branded me unemployable, while Mom got a slap on the wrist reprimand. No charges. Back to her desk by spring. The bank even threw her a pity party, complete with cake that said, "Welcome back, Evelyn." I saw the photos on Facebook. Her beaming in a pantsuit. Tommy photobombed in the background with a thumbs up. From then on, I was the black sheep. The one who threw it all away. Jobs? Forget it. Background checks killed every interview. I bounced from barista gigs to waitressing at dive bars where the tips smelled like regret. And the bills? Yeah, those came to me. Mom's fixed income from the bank barely covered the mortgage on that money pit of a house. Tommy's entrepreneurship drained what was left. Failed food trucks. NFT flips that tanked. So, I sent checks. Anonymous at first, through a P.O. box in Cleveland to keep the trail cold. $500 a month. Then $1,000 when overtime hit. Scraped from double shifts. From selling plasma on Fridays when the hunger pangs hit hardest. They called it the Tooth Fairy's gift in family lore. Some mystery benefactor keeping the lights on. Mom joked about it endlessly. Whoever you are,
Saint.
Come claim your halo. That Thanksgiving, as the laughter died down, I felt the old rage bubble up like bad bourbon. Tommy piped up, mouth full of stuffing. Yeah?
Belle.
What's the plan? Gonna rob a Starbucks for real this time? Uncle Ray slapped the table. Tears in his eyes from coughing up a lung. Mom leaned in. Her perfume, cheap Chanel knockoff, wafting like a warning. Girls like you,
Annie.
you gotta hustle smarter. Not harder. Look at Tommy here, he's onto something with this AI dropshipping thing. Tommy nodded sagely, like he hadn't blown my last gift on a Vegas weekend. I set my fork down. The clink echoed like a gavel. Hustle, I repeated, tasting the word like bile. Funny you mentioned that,
Mom.
seeing as how I've been the one hustling to keep this roof over your head. Blank stares. Uncle Ray's beer paused mid-sip. Tommy's phone slipped from his greasy fingers. Mom's smile froze. A rictus of confusion. What on earth are you on about? Annabelle? Don't be dramatic. Dramatic. The word that had haunted me since the courtroom. When the judge called my plea a tragic lapse in judgment, I reached into my purse. The beat-up Coach knockoff Tommy had gifted me for my 25th. Probably hawked from a flea market, and pulled out the folder. Manila. Stuffed fat with printouts, bank statements, wire confirmations, the P.O. box logs. All trace back to my routing number. This, I said, sliding it across the table like a dealer flipping blackjack, is 8 years of me paying your bills. The mortgage. Tommy's truck payments. That casino comp suite you won last summer. Every time you cried poor, I covered it. While you called me the failure, the room imploded. Mom's face drained to the color of the gravy she'd mocked. That's not possible. You? With what money? You're broke as a joke. Tommy snatched the folder, flipping pages like they were porn mags. Holy shit.
Belle.
This is you? All those random deposits. Uncle Ray cleared his throat. A gravelly rumble.
Now.
Hold up.
Kiddo.
This some kind of prank? 'Cause if you're serious. I'm dead serious. I cut in, my voice steady as the lies I'd told the feds. And it's not just the money. It's the rest. The hook I'd swallowed whole. The betrayal that started it all. But I wasn't ready to gut her open yet. Not with the pie cooling and the wine flowing. Let it simmer. Let them squirm. Revenge isn't a sprint, it's a slow bleed. As we cleared plates in stunned silence, Mom's hands trembling on the china, Tommy muttering about boundaries, I poured her coffee black. Just how she liked it. The vial from my purse burned in my pocket, a bitter insurance policy from a shady pharmacist in Cleveland's underbelly. Not lethal. Just enough to make her puke up her secrets for hours. But I held off. This dinner was just appetizers. The main course? Exposing how she'd sold me out not once, but twice. And the dessert? Watching her empire of lies crumble while I walked away clean. That night, as I crashed on the lumpy couch in the den, surrounded by Dad's dusty hunting trophies and Mom's faded prom photos, I lay awake, the house creaking like it was confessing too. The plan had formed over months, pieced together in late-night scrolls through public records and burner emails to old bank contacts. Mom thought she was untouchable. Her web of half-truths spun tight. But I've been unraveling it thread by thread, ever since I found the letter in Dad's lockbox. The one that proved she'd been skimming long before the casino. Long before I took the fall. It wasn't just debts. It was murder, wrapped in a cover-up that made Watergate look like a kindergarten spat. Dad hadn't died of natural causes. The autopsy report, buried in county files, but not deep enough for a woman with nothing but time, showed traces of antifreeze in his system. Ethylene glycol, sweet as candy, lethal as sin. Mom had done it, slow-dosing his whiskey to cash in on the life insurance. 50 grand, which she blew on slots and Tommy's therapy sessions that were really just excuses to party. I'd confronted her once, 2 years post-prison, whispering accusations over her kitchen sink while she washed dishes. Prove it, she'd hissed, eyes like daggers. Or shut your trap and pass the bleach. I couldn't prove it then.
But now?
With the money trail linking her to the pharmacy where she'd bought the stuff under a fake name?
Yeah.
The folder was just the teaser. The real bomb was on a USB drive in my glove box, emails, timestamps, witness statements from a nurse who'd seen her dosing the flask. All circumstantial, but enough to flip the script. The cops wouldn't care about ancient history without a push. But a push from the victim's daughter? That'd light the fuse. Morning broke gray and unforgiving. Coffee brewing like a witch's potion. Mom avoided my eyes over breakfast, burnt toast and weak Folgers, mumbling about needing space to process. Tommy hovered, awkward as a puppy sniffing shit, offering to talk it out. Uncle Ray had slunk off at dawn, claiming a shift at the mill, but I caught him texting furiously on the porch. Allies shifting, just like always. Mom's network was a house of cards, crooked cops, complicit kin, and me, the wild card she discarded. By noon, she cornered me in the garage, amid Dad's rusted tools and the ghost of motor oil. Annabelle Marie Hargrove, you think you can waltz in here with your little dossier and upend my life? After everything I've sacrificed. Her voice cracked, but not with remorse, with fury. The kind that had driven her to slip poison in a loving cup. I raised you. Put food on this table when your father couldn't keep a job. And you repay me with blackmail? Sacrifice. I laughed, bitter as the chill seeping through the concrete floor. You sacrificed me.
Mom.
On the altar of your fuck-ups. The bank job? That was you. The gambling?
You.
And Dad. I let it hang, watching her flinch like I'd slapped her. You poisoned him. For what? A payout that vanished into poker chips. Her eyes narrowed, cunning flickering like a cornered fox.
Lies.
All of it. Your daddy was a drunk, liver gave out. Plain and simple. As for the rest, you confessed. Annie. Signed your name in blood. You want to drag this up now?
Fine.
But remember, pots and kettles. You've got skeletons too. She stepped closer, breath hot with mints masking the booze. That boyfriend you invented? The one you stole for? I know the real reason you took the fall. Not for me. For Tommy, the twist she'd buried deepest. The one that made my revenge a mirror, reflecting my own stains. Because yeah, she was right. It wasn't just maternal love. Tommy had been in on the skimming small time, forging Mom's signature on loans for his dope habit. When the heat came, I covered for him too. My little brother, the golden boy, who'd OD'd once in high school and sworn off the white devil. But old habits die hard, and I'd rather rot than see him in stripes. Mom knew. Used it like leverage. Flipping the narrative. I was the enabler, the co-conspirator who'd chosen blood over law. We stared each other down. The garage, a confessional booth for sinners. You think this ends with papers and pretty words? She whispered. I've got friends. Annie. Real ones. You push, and we all go down. A threat, veiled as concern. Classic Evelyn maneuver. Manipulate. Make you doubt your own rage. But I was done doubting. As I packed my duffel that afternoon, the house felt smaller, suffocating. Tommy tried one last Hail Mary. Sis.
Come on.
Family sticks. Mom's stressed, hormones or whatever. I hugged him goodbye, slipping the USB into his jacket pocket. Tell her it's insured. One wrong move, and it mails to the DA. His eyes widened, fear. Or was it calculation? Tommy had always been her mini-me, flipping loyalties like pancakes. Driving back to Cleveland, the Ohio Turnpike a blur of billboards promising escape. Visit the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Lottery. Your dreams await. I gripped the wheel, heart pounding with the high of half-victory. The dinner reveal had cracked the facade, but the real war was brewing. Mom wouldn't go quiet. She'd counterattack, spin yarns to Uncle Ray, maybe even leak my instability to old associates. And Tommy, God knows whose side he'd land on. But, for the first time, I felt the power shift. The failure was rising. And hell hath no fury like a daughter scorned. Little did I know, her first strike was already in motion, a call to a PI in Columbus, digging for dirt on my Cleveland life. The kind of dirt that could bury me deeper than Dad's grave. Back in my shoebox apartment off Euclid Avenue. The kind where the neighbors blast trap music till 3 a.m. And the superfixes leaks with duct tape. I crashed hard. Dreams twisted like barbed wire, Mom's laugh echoing in the courtroom. Dad's glassy eyes pleading from his deathbed. Tommy's needle tracks hidden under long sleeves. Woke up sweating. The vial of Ipecac syrup, harmless gut puncher. bought off a back alley dock for $20, rolling under the bed like a guilty secret. It was Monday, Black Friday sales blaring from every radio. But I called out from the coffee shop. Needed a day to fortify the fortress. First order, secure the evidence. I hid an internet cafe in Lakewood. The kind with sticky keyboards and flyers for NA meetings tacked to the walls. Uploaded the USB files to an encrypted Dropbox, set to auto-send to the Ohio AG's tip line if I missed a 24-hour check-in. Added a dead man switch app on my phone, poof. Digital confetti if I got hit by a bus or, more likely, Mom's wrath. Then emails, anonymous drops to a true crime podcaster in Cincinnati I'd stalked on Reddit, and a burner tip to the Youngstown Vindicator. Corrupt bank clerk poisoned husband, framed daughter. Vague enough to hook, juicy enough to bite. By afternoon, paranoia set in. My phone buzzed, unknown number. Annabelle, Ray here. We need to talk. Your mother's. Upset. Uncle Ray's voice. Thick with Marlboros and menace. I met him at a Tim Hortons off I-71. The parking lot a graveyard of salt-rusted sedans under a sky's spitting sleet. He slid into my passenger seat, reeking of cop shop coffee and regret. Kid, this is bad. Ev's talking lawyers. Says you forged those statements, some revenge fantasy 'cause you can't hack life. I snorted, handing him a printout, the original bank audit, redacted but damning, showing Mom's employee ID on every bogus transfer. Tell her to lawyer up. She's gonna need one when the antifreeze trail leads back to her pill bottle. Ray's face crumpled, jowls quivering. He'd always been the soft underbelly of the family, the uncle who snuck me beers at picnics and covered for Dad's benders. Annie, listen. Your ma. She's broken. After your pa, the debts piled up like snowdrifts. The skimming? Desperation. And you taking the fall, hell? She hates herself for it. But dragging up the old man? That's crossing lines. Cops'll say you tampered with records. Plant your ass back inside. His pitch, family therapy, mediated by a shrink on the down low. Mom confesses the embezzlement, pays restitution from her pension. We bury the poisoning. Accidental overdose. Case closed. In return, I forgive the bills, the barbs, the years lost to her shadow. Sounded reasonable, almost merciful. But Ray's eyes darted to my glove box, where the vial hid.
Cop instincts.
What's her angle? Really? This ain't just her pride. I leaned in, voice low. Angle? Survival. She didn't just steal money, she stole me. My 20s, my shot at normal. And Dad, that was premeditated.
Ray.
You knew, didn't you? The way she hovered over his meds. The accidental extra pores. He deflated, nodding once. Suspected. But proving. Christ. Annie. We're Hargroves. We protect our own.
Protect.
The word twisted like a knife. They'd protected Mom. All right, by feeding me to the wolves. We parted uneasy. Ray promising to rein her in. But as I peeled out, tailing a semi toward the city, my rearview caught a black SUV lingering too long at the light. Paranoia or precaution? In Youngstown, lines blurred fast. Back home, I double-locked the door, brewed tea strong as suspicion, and dove into the next layer, Tommy. My brother wasn't just collateral, he was the wild card antagonist. Flipping sides faster than a politician at a fundraiser. I'd wired him $5,000 last summer for business school, which turned out to be a down payment on a vape shop that folded in 3 months. But the OD in high school? That was real. I'd found him blue-lipped in the basement, Narcan him back while Mom sobbed upstairs about teen angst. From then on, he was my shadow project, covering his dealers, faking alibis for shoplifted Adderall. When the bank heat came, he confessed to me in tears. Sis, I dipped into the till for a score. Mom covered the big stuff. But mine. It'll kill her. So, I expanded the lie. Embezzled for a phantom bow, with Tommy's petty thefts folded in. Saved his ass. Sealed my fate. Now, he texted nonstop. WTF Bell? Mom's flipping tables. Call me. I did. From a burner app. Voice distorted like a bad spy flick. You knew.
Tommy.
Every deposit I sent, that was me bleeding for your screw-ups. Silence.
Then a whine.
I thought it was some sugar daddy or whatever. Come on. You're loaded now. Loaded. The irony burned. I was one eviction notice from the street. He flipped then, cunning surfacing like oil on water. Look, if you're serious about this poison shit, total BS. By the way, maybe we cut a deal. I got dirt on Mom too. That casino host? She's banging him. Has been since Dad. Videos. Even. We leverage it. Split whatever settlement. Antagonist mode. Brother against sister. Or united against the Queen. His voice dripped opportunity. The same tone he'd used to hawk stolen catalytic converters in our teens. I played along, baiting the hook. Send proof. Then we talk. By midnight, files hit my inbox, grainy clips from a motel in Erie. PA, Mom tangled in sheets with a slick-haired suit named Victor Lang. Her laughter muffled but unmistakable. Twist 1, not just debts, but an affair fueling the fire. Victor, mid-level exec at a Pittsburgh firm, had bankrolled her habits, loans disguised as investments. But when Dad got wise, sniffing the cologne on her scrubs, that's when the antifreeze entered the picture. The letter in Dad's lockbox, a scrawled note. Ev, if you leave me for that prick, I'll tell the bank everything. Blackmail from beyond the grave. Victor wasn't just a lover, he was a co-conspirator, wiring hush money through offshore accounts I'd traced via a shady accountant contact. Empowered, I escalated. Posted the motel stills to a local Facebook group, Youngstown Scandals, anonymized. Of course. By dawn, comments exploded. That's Evelyn from the bank. Slut. No way. Her hubby's barely cold. The town buzzed. A hornet's nest I'd kicked for fun. Mom called at 7 a.m. Voice a shriek. You bitch. Take it down. Ray says it's you. I let her rage. Then dropped the bomb. Confessed to the DA.
Mom.
The embezzlement. The poisoning. Or Victor's next. I got his plate from the video.
Click.
Silence sweeter than victory. But antagonists adapt. That evening, as I walked home from a shift, tips light, nerves electric, a car idled curbside. Not the SUV, but a silver Accord. Tinted windows. Heart slamming. I ducked into a bodega, called 911 from the payphone. Being followed. Cops came. Logged it. But Youngstown PD? Ray's old stomping ground. They chalked it to overactive imagination, post from a woman with priors. Sleep evaded me that night. Shadows dancing like accusations. Was I the villain now? Exposing her meant exposing us all, Tommy's addictions, My perjury. Ray's complicity. The revenge tasted like ash. Controversial even in my own head. Reader's hell. If this were a book, would split. Was I Justice's avenger or a vengeful harpy dragging innocence down? Mom had sinned. Sure. But my hands? Far from clean. The climax loomed. A dinner rematch she'd demand, where sides would shatter like fine china. Friday blurred into chaos. Work fired me. Attitude issues, code for distracted by family drama. Bills piled. The irony biting. Then Tommy showed, unannounced. Duffel in hand, eyes wild. Mom's losing it.
Bell.
Kick me out after the posts. Says you're poison, literally. He crashed on my couch. Spilling more. Victor wasn't just banging her. He proposed a hit on me. Joking?
Probably.
But he's got connections, bookies. Not mafia. But close. Flip again. Brother as ally. Whispering plans to flee to Florida. Split any insurance if Mom slipped. I nodded. Vial in pocket like a talisman. One more dinner.
Tommy.
Play along. We record it all. His grin predatory. Familiar, sealed the pact. But as he snored, I wondered, who was I revenging? The girl I'd been? Or the monster she'd made me? The rematch dinner was her idea. Of course, Evelyn Hargrove didn't back down. She regrouped, reloaded, and served it with sides. Text came Saturday noon. Family meeting. My house. 6 p.m. Bring your evidence. We'll hash it. No please. No sorry, just command. Laced with the unspoken. Come or consequences. Tommy and I prepped like commandos. Wire hidden in his watch. Phone streaming to my cloud. Ray confirmed attendance. For neutrality. Neutral.
Right.
The man who'd signed off on my plea deal as character witness. We rolled up to Elm Street as dusk bled into night. The house lit like a stage set for tragedy. Porch light flickering. Curtains twitching like nervous fingers. Mom answered in her Sunday best. Pearls over a cashmere sweater. Hair teased to perfection. A glass of Merlot already in hand. Annabelle. Thomas. Come in, darlings. Let's put this nonsense behind us. Her smile was Botox tight. Eyes scanning us for weapons. Victor was there too, uninvited surprise. Lounging in Dad's armchair like he owned the deed. Mid-40s. Slick as a used car salesman. With a pinky ring that screamed compensating. Pleasure. Annabelle. Heard so much. His handshake lingered. Probing. Dinner was pot roast, ironic. Comfort food for a family on the brink. Table set formal, linen napkins. Candlelight casting long shadows. Uncle Ray carved the meat, muttering grace under his breath. Small talk first. Weather. This sleet's a killer. Tommy's ventures. AI's the future. Trust. Then Mom pivoted. Fork poised like a stiletto. Annie, I've been thinking. You're right, we owe you. The bills. The support.
It was.
Misguided.
Keeping it secret.
But exposing us? That's not family. That's cruelty. Victor chimed in, voice oily. Evelyn's offered restitution. 20 grand, wired tomorrow. In exchange, you delete the files, the posts. Water under the bridge. A bribe. Wrapped in velvet. Ray nodded approval, slicing beef with unnecessary vigor. Tommy shifted, wire humming against his wrist. I sipped my water, spiked, tasted fine, and laid it out. Restitution covers the cash. Not the years. Not Dad. The room iced over. Mom's fork clattered. Enough with that fairy tale. Your father was an alcoholic. Antifreeze.
Mom.
Ethylene glycol in his talk screen. Bought from Warren Pharmacy. Prescription under Ellen Hargrove. Your maiden name. I slid copies across. Receipts. Timestamps matching his decline. Victor's face paled. Ring glinting as he gripped his glass. This is libel.
Girl.
Sue your ass into next year. But his eyes darted to Mom. Fear. Or foreknowledge. Tommy jumped in. Scripted. She's got emails too.
Vic.
You wiring her after the funeral? Hush money. Flip. Brother turning on the outsider. Victor lunged, but Ray restrained him, grunting.
Easy. Pal.
We're talking. Chaos erupted, Mom shrieking accusations. You planted it. Victor sputtering threats. I'll bury you. Tommy feigning shock. I let it burn, recording every slur, every slip. Then the hook. Confess.
Mom.
On tape. The bank. The poison. The frame. Or it all goes public. Podcasts.
Press.
Your face on Dateline. She cracked then. Not with tears, but venom. Confess? You ungrateful whore. I did it all for us. Your father was drowning us. Booze.
Debts.
His side piece at the mill. Yeah. I dosed him. Sweet dreams till the end. And the bank. We need it out. You signed. Annie. You chose.
Chose.
The word gutted me. Because she was half right. I'd inked the lie for Tommy. For the fragile piece of our fractured home. But her? Pure self-preservation. Victor flipped next. Antagonist supreme. Screw this.
Ev.
We're out. He bolted for the door. But not before Tommy accidentally spilled wine on his slacks, buying me time to snap a pic of his phone. Left charging. Text galore. Handle the girl. Quietly. Death threats?
No.
But assault vibes. Enough for a restraining order. Ray mediated. Sweat beading. Enough.
Ev.
Sign the paper, admit the skimming. Pay up.
Annie.
Drop the murder angle. Statutes expired anyway. Controversial call. Protect the matriarch. Sacrifice the truth. Mom signed. Hand shaking. A notarized affidavit spilling the embezzlement beans. For Tommy, she whispered. Always for him. Victor stormed out. Tires squealing into the night. Tommy high-fived me under the table, alliance holding. For now. But as plates cleared, the real flip hit. Mom cornered me in the kitchen. Voice a hiss. You think this ends it? Victor's got pull, prosecutors in his pocket. One word. And your perjury goes prime time.
Perjury.
My sin. The one that made me complicit. I'd lied under oath. Invented accomplices. Felony on felony. The room spun. Was I avenger or accessory? Ray pulled her away. But damage done. Doubt seeded like weeds. We left at 9. Air electric with unresolved static. Tommy rode shotgun. Buzzing. That was epic. We're free. Free? I dropped him at a motel. Lay low. And drove aimless. Vial in hand. The recording? Gold. But uploading meant my face in the fire too. Sides blurred. Mom the monster. Or desperate survivor. Victor the snake. Or jilted lover. Tommy the pawn. or puppeteer. And me, the hero who'd poisoned her coffee in my mind, but held back in reality. Sunday dawned with fallout. Vindicator ran a blind item. Local bank vet an embezzlement probe. Mom's phone blew up, colleagues, cousins, the works. She texted Mercy, please. Annie, help. They're firing me. I ignored, focusing fire on Victor. Hacked his LinkedIn, shout out to a bar buddy's IT skills. Linked him to casino laundering via public filings. Posted to Glassdoor. Toxic exec. Affairs and threats. By noon, his firm's HR was sniffing. Then the counterstrike. Cops at my door. Not Ray's crew, Columbus badges. Flashing warrants. Annabelle Hargrove, you're under arrest for extortion and evidence tampering. Victor's play. Greased palms turning my bluff into bars. Heart hammering. I complied. Cuffs cold. Miranda writes a drone. At the station, Ray waited in interrogation. Face ashen. It was her. Annie. Called in favors. Said you threatened her life with poison. The vial. She'd found it in my purse during cleanup. Spun it into attempted murder. Twist gut punch, Mom. Flipping victim. Me the villain.
Tommy? Mia?
Phone dead. Betrayal layered like onion skin, brother bailed. Uncle torn. As they fingerprinted me, ink staining my tip-scarred hands, rage crystallized. Not at her, at the mirror. I'd built this cage. Brick by vengeful brick. But release? Bail hearing tomorrow. And the dead man switch?
Ticking.
Jail smelled like stale bleach and broken promises. The holding cell a concrete womb for the damned. Marysville Redux. But colder, no greenhorn nerves. Just weary resolve. They processed me quick, mugshot glowering under fluorescence. Jumpsuit chafing like regret. Charges stuck, extortion via the affidavit. Tampering with the forged tox reports, Victor's lawyers spun it slick. Bail set at $50K. A fortune for a barista with priors. Ray posted $10K bond. His life savings scraped from pension scraps. For your pa, he muttered, avoiding my eyes. Mom's shadow loomed even here. Her flips masterful, from perp to plaintiff overnight. Word spread like flu in a dorm. Family group chat exploded. Tommy finally surfaced. WTF sis. Vindicator front paged it. Daughter blackmails mother in inheritance feud. Poison plot alleged. Comments a cesspool. Lock her up. Ungrateful millennial. Sounds like Evelyn had it coming. Remember her husband's accident. Split down the middle. Readers picking teams like a rigged election.
Me?
The anti-hero. Controversial to the core. Had I exposed truth or unleashed hell? Arraignment was a circus. Victor in the gallery. Smirking beside Mom. Her arm linked in his like war brides. Tommy slouched in back. Hoodie shadowing guilt. Judge. A grizzled vet named Harlan. Ray's poker buddy. Eyed me stern. MS. Hargrove. Your history's a novel. Pleaded out. My public defender. A harried kid named Ruiz. Whispered. Take the deal, 6 months. Probation. But I stood tall. Voice steady. Not guilty. It's all on tape. The recording, dinner confessions. Threats, filed as evidence. DA balked. But Harlan suppressed it partial. Hearsay till verified. Out on bond by noon. Ankle monitor buzzing like a hornet. I hold up at Ray's trailer in Girard. Neutral ground. His divorce pad reeking of TV dinners. He cooked burgers. Cracked a beer. Ev's unhinged.
Kid.
Victor's pushing charges to bury the old dirt. But Tommy, he's talking sense. Wants to flip state's evidence. Flip again. Brother as rat? I laughed.
Hollow.
Let him. Long as he drags Mom down too. Revenge's endgame crystallized that night. Over Pawn Star's reruns. Leak everything. The full audio to the podcaster. Victor's texts to a PI for leverage. But the twist, the one that had spark bar fights and Reddit wars, hit via Ruiz's call. Your mom's countersuit?
Dropped.
Victor's ghosting her. And get this, Tommy confessed. The poisoning? His idea. My world tilted. Tommy? The baby brother I'd shielded. The addict I'd enabled? He'd researched the antifreeze online. Slipped it into Dad's flask during a visit. Mom covered. Dumped evidence. Spun the OD tale. Out of terror. Not malice. He was spiraling. Counselor. Heroin debts to Victor's crew. Said Dad was selling him out to dealers. Betrayals abyss. I'd taken the bank fall for Tommy's schemes.
But the murder?
His hand. Mom's hush. Flips cascaded. Antagonist, not her. But him. Cunning little shit. Playing victim while puppeteering us all. His dirt on Mom? Deflection. The motel vids? Bait to divide. And now, state's evidence? Immunity for ratting family. Painting me the extortionist queen. I confronted him at a Waffle House off 422. Dawn breaking bloody. He slid into the booth. Eyes bloodshot. Tracks fresh under sleeves.
Bell.
Hear me out. It was mercy Dad was going to turn me in.
Cut me off.
Mom knew. Helped clean up.
But you?
Taking the bank hit? That was you choosing me. Choosing. The word again. A noose tightening. Why frame me deeper? The bills. The barbs, Mom's cruelty. He shrugged. Syrup dripping, fork waving. Survival. You were strong, took the heat. I couldn't. Pure sociopath gleam. No remorse. Just calculus. Victor? His supplier. Mom's lover-aside perk. The SUV tales? Tommy's crew. Lowlifes from his vape days. Flip final. Brother the devil. Me the dupe. I didn't poison his coffee. Too easy. To her style. Instead, I nodded. Feigned the alliance. We fight together. Drop the flip. He bought it. Grinned like we'd won. But as he left, I texted Ruiz. Tommy's the key. Wire him. Trap sprung. Cops nabbed him en route. His phone a treasure trove. Texts plotting my disappearance. Confessions recorded in panic. Climax crested that December eve. Snow blanketing Youngstown like absolution. DA's office. Fluorescent hell. Mom. Shrunken in a plea deal pantsuit. Victor. Cuffed for laundering. Tommy. Sniveling in orange.
Me?
Witness stand. Ankle free. Monitor off. She betrayed me. I testified. Voice cracking for the jury. Blue-collar folks who'd nod at family sins. Framed me for her baby's crimes. But I covered too. We all did. No heroes. Just survivors clawing from the pit. Jury split hairs. Mom. Manslaughter plea, 5 years. Out in 3.
Tommy.
Murder 2, 15. No parole. Victor. Racketeering, 8.
Me?
Charges dropped. Perjury expunged in a sweetheart deal. Restitution flowed. House sold. Proceeds split. Mine a fresh start fund.
But the twist?
As Mom hugged goodbye in the courthouse hall, tears real. Finally, Annie. Forgive? For the girl you were. I did. Half. Not for her.
But me.
Walking out into the flurries. Ray's arm linked. Uncle redeemed. I felt the weight lift. But scars itched. A happy ending? Tragic farce? Readers debate. Did justice win? Or just swap masks?
Now.
Cleveland's skyline gleams from my new walk-up. Barista days traded for bookkeeping legit. Ironies wink. Tommy writes from lockup. Proud of you. Sis. Bullshit. Mom's letters plead therapy visits. I go sometimes. Watching her knit through bars. Our talks a minefield of what-ifs. Revenge? Delivered. But hollow. Like that dinner, turkey cold. Secrets hot. In America, we chew the bones and call it closure. But the taste lingers.
Controversial as sin.
And the vial? Flushed long ago. Mercy. After all. For the woman who'd birthed my fire.